Fridays are kind of like I don't want to call them my day off. It's kind of like I'm not planning on working. There's nothing on my schedule, but when I feel inspired, I work. Full transparency, I'm in my PJs, haven't even brushed my teeth yet. It's 11:30, full transparency that some days I wait till noon to brush my teeth. And that's okay. And really honoring exposure and vulnerability and just showing up in my PJs. Like, took a bath last night, hair is air dried, haven't washed my face, haven't brushed my teeth yet, still in my PJs, and here's what's coming through, and it's very loud and clear. The amount of Facebook messages that I've received from women in particular in the last 2 weeks, with messages that are so surface and completely not personal. And the energy of these messages, and maybe I'll do a few screenshots without names and without like group names and things like that for you to see. Some of them are Facebook voice messages. The energy is complete. How do I put this into words? Like, the energy is I am wanting to get something from you. So when I'm receiving messages, there's a message and it usually feels like canned or like, I don't know, it just feels like it's not personalized, and the energy around it feels like I'm asking you questions not because I really care. I'm asking you questions because I want to help you. I think I can help you, and I want to fix something, or I want to offer you something, which is fine. Perhaps some of these women who are reaching out to me absolutely can serve me and absolutely can help me. That's not the issue that I'm finding inside. The issue that I'm finding inside is before anyone has given themselves an opportunity to get to know me the woman, me the human, me the business owner, me the entrepreneur, me the one who is here wanting to create purpose and be fulfilled and experience all the beauty that life has to offer, there's a complete detachment from the individual actually wanting to get to know me. And it's smacking me in the face like a 2x4. The amount of messages, I don't know if it's like January, beginning of the year, business owners and entrepreneurs are like feeling fired up again and ready to go, but that used to work, but that's not where the world is right now. And I used to send messages like that. I used to send that, and it was received. And also because the intentionality was there, where I truly do want to help people, did want to help people, and the intentionality was there. But the world is shifting, and people can feel more than ever when there is a need and a desire to get something from somebody else, because true surrender is not attached to an outcome. If we're trying to surrender into trust because we want to earn more money or because we want to bring in a relationship, that's actually creating more resistance. So if you think about the true state of surrender, it's completely detached from outcome. And when I'm receiving these messages, it feels to me like desperation. It feels to me like there's an agenda. It feels to me like there isn't a desire to actually know who I am on a soul level. And the world needs a lot less of that. And so what's working for me is I'm taking my time. I send personalized messages to every single woman who joins this community. I take the time to get to know her. I take the time to understand what she's looking for, what's hurting her, what her desires are, where she's struggling, where she's feeling disconnected, where she's seeking community. And I'm actually creating conversations, not from a place of, oh, I want you to join my program, or I want you to buy this thing from me, or I want you to enter this community from a place of just, hi, I just want to connect. And so I think there's a massive disconnect in what I'm seeing right now in people wanting to serve. And to me, it's a representation of the old paradigm of how we used to do business and how we used to show up in the world and how we used to do and how we used to just be so in this claiming and in this, like, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that from you in order for me to have what I want, even though we know we're in a space of service. And so to me, this is just a representation of the old paradigm of that's dying, which is connection above anything, intimacy above anything, authenticity above everything is always going to trump all the other stuff. And to me, this is a representation of lower vibrational frequencies that we're coming out of and being in that space of quality, being in that space of intentionality. So I just want to share what's working for me because it's coming from the heart. Does it take more time? Absolutely. But I'm not treating it as a chore. I'm not treating it as a to-do list. I'm not treating it as a space of just wanting more. I'm treating it as a space of really wanting to connect to what people and humanity and women are craving right now. And a lot of times I can offer support, but you want to know the most beautiful thing? A lot of times I'm actually receiving support. A lot of times I'm actually receiving more understanding and awareness for my own healing and noticing the giving and the receiving and the reciprocity of being in service in this way. Because every time I coach somebody, every time I connect with a colleague or a sister that's asking for support, there's usually a new level of understanding and awareness that happens for me. And there's a lot of healing that happens for myself as well. So I just felt really called to share this because I've ignored the messages and I'm in a space. Actually, I want to just close with this. This started with one woman who sent me a friend request. We had a couple mutual friends. She immediately sent me a voice message that said, hey, nice to meet you. Have you heard of this company? Like, that was all that she said. And I actually took a few deep breaths and I took some time to center and I sent her a voice message back and was just really honest and authentic with how her messaging was landing for me and how it just wasn't working for me, and just like offering some support and feedback that maybe, it's landing for that way in other people. And all she said was, thank you. I appreciate, your honesty. And so I do feel called to respond to these messages in due time and just be honest around how it's landing for me, right? Because part of leadership too is not hiding from conflict and not hiding from conversation. And I think that is the beautiful sacred union of the feminine and the masculine, right? Is being able to ask for what I want, right? Like if I'm getting all of these messages in this way, it's like, okay, well, I get to create a new reality by responding from the heart. And so I think as women, a lot of times we're afraid to be direct and we're afraid to ask for what we want. But the reality is that that's a beautiful thing, to be confident, right? To be so just rooted in the truth of who we are, in our desires, asking for what we want so that we can create a new reality. And this can help support the other women in maybe shifting, right? Like this is the ripple of the work. Like all of these women clearly are being of service and creating impact in the world, but the messaging isn't landing. It's not landing for me. And I would imagine that I'm not alone, because I'm usually like the first one to pull out my credit card, right? Like I love sales, I love service, I love women in business, and I love supporting them. But if the messaging is off, it just feels icky, right? And so to me, this feels like the ripple of, if I can maybe support some of these women in shifting their messaging, then look at the ripple of how they can actually create more impact. So I really just wanted to offer that is the masculine way is very, is quantity over quality, right? Is like, I'm just going to do, and I'm going to be a machine, and I'm just going to churn this out and copy and paste messages and send friend requests and then send a canned message and just keep asking the same questions over and over without really creating intimacy, without really creating the spaciousness. And that way is no longer working, right? So it's really connecting to the heart first, really connecting to, to self first, and then being able to go out and be the divine in action, which is sharing what you love, which is sharing how you're creating impact in the world. So I would love to know how this is landing. And the world just needs more people to pick up their phone and say hello and ask, how are you? And send voice messages or meet in person to the best of our ability, right? Like, this is what the world is craving. And this is the feminine way, right? Is the nurturing and the nourishment and the reciprocity and the giving and receiving and this beautiful balance of unconditionally giving and receiving is what's coming through. Would love to know how this is landing. And if you'd like any support, I'm not generally a business coach, but if something's not working for you in your business in this way, I would love to support you, because I want to see more women in business rising. I want to see more women whose current situations at home or in the workplace are not working. I want to see more women confident in stepping into that. And it can be very scary. And I there's a lot of strategy out there, and there's a lot of people that are doing things the old way, the way of the old paradigm that used to work that's no longer working. And this is the magnetic way. This is the receptive way. This is the art of allowing. This is the art of receiving, is slowing down, actually being a human being and not a computer or a machine, having a conversation and truly wanting to help someone, whether it's through my work or whether it's through a colleague's or whether it's through a free offering or whether it's through a book or whether it's through just a regular conversation. That is how we create impact. That's how we call in abundance. That's how we create more of what we desire, by authentically serving in that way. I love you so much. Thank you for paying attention and listening. I'm gonna go brush my teeth now, take a shower, and would love to know how this is landing for you. Much love.